This is a 19-year-old high school graduate who has used the unfortunate nickname Big Balls. This is a 19-year-old high school graduate who has used the unfortunate nickname Big Balls online, so that would be one way that we could refer to him. He is now working at Musk's behest inside DOGE, and we looked into his background, and so we found several notable things, Aaron, one of which is that this individual has founded multiple companies, including one with another unfortunate name, Tesla.Sexy LLC, which he established in 2021. He would have been around 16 years old. Now, this LLC controls dozens of web domains.
So, Kara, you hear this, and you have known Elon Musk for years. So now you look at these young men who are now in data and in the private information about maybe hundreds of millions of American citizens as young as 19, the big balls here that Katie's talking about. Most of them are in their early 20s. There's an exception I'm going to get to in a minute. I'm curious, though, Kara, how well does even Musk know these young men, do you think?
I have no idea. I think there's no vetting whatsoever, as you can see, that's taken place. It took Katie and the really great team. Wired has done an astonishing job here. I could make a joke that's probably why he was hired for all this ridiculous nonsense and other nefarious things. But, there's an expression in technology that's not, it's. If
these hags don't get off my screen, a 19-year-old with the pseudonym Big Balls, he wasn't vetted. He don't know what he's doing. This is so offensive. Really? This is where they're going. They're doxing all of these young guys who are doing the work of the people, finding the corruption, getting to the source of it at USAID. And this is what you're talking about. He's 19 years old. Can you please grow up? But this is what they do. Because they have nothing. They're scared. They're terrified. This is why you see them lashing out in all of these protests, and they're dragging out 200-year-old Maxine Waters. We'll win. I mean, she's out there with a cane, struggling. And this is what we're doing. I actually, when I woke up, I was on X, and this popped up on my feed. Look at what I said, y'all, because I really did not care. So this is what I replied to Elon Musk when he was like taking a vote on should they bring back, here it is, bring back a DOGE staffer who made inappropriate statements via a now deleted pseudonym. And this is what I said, y'all. I said, oh, please. He was a kid saying edgy stuff, trying to be funny. Can we grow the F up and get back to work? Bring back Big Balls, y'all. Bring them. This is what I also posted in another one that was talking about this. Says, I don't give a F if they are smoking crack and running around butt naked. Don't stop digging. And then I put that there. Y'all, the foolishness is at an all-time high. I have never seen anything like this. And this is how you know we are above the target. We are over the target because they're doing everything they can to stop the investigation and to look into the books of USAID, into the Treasury. Now, this morning, they were raging about the Department of Education. The list goes on and on and on. But let's get more into this story. So the new thing that they're doing, because they can't stop what President Trump is doing or what Elon Musk is doing, which the American people largely agree with. We want to uncover this money. I don't know where they're getting in their small brains that somehow we're upset that this corruption is being uncovered. But what they're doing now, because nothing else works, they're doxing the young guys that are, doing the work of the people that want this done. But they're essentially doxing these guys, the young men that are doing the work of the people. I want them to keep going. I want them to find every drop of corruption. I want to see the paper trail of everything, of where our tax dollars have been spent. So now that this doxing is taking place, come to find out the CIA had a hand in it. Listen to this.
Information to things they shouldn't have access to. There has to be some oversight of Elon Musk.
One of the other things we're learning this week, this is according to the New York Times, the CIA sent the White House an unclassified email with the names of some employees. This sounds mundane, I guess, but it's the CIA, and some of those employees are doing sensitive jobs. Some of those employees are targeted by foreign governments. Why?
Now, because they can't do anything to stop Elon Musk, and certainly us, the people, we are loving seeing all of the corruption being exposed. And this is just the beginning. We haven't even followed all of the paper trails. I mean, this is going to be an exciting time because we finally get to see where our tax dollars are being wasted, where our tax dollars are being embezzled, where there is a mass abuse and fraud. And so because they can't do anything about that, they're now doxing all of these young men. And somehow Abby Phillips thinks this is a great idea. But yeah, our boy Scott Jennings sets it straight.
That's an important question. Why is it, Scott, that Elon Musk claims that it is a crime to tweet out the names of the 6 individuals who I have to assume are government employees, maybe they're not, who are going around and carrying out his orders and telling people, for example, to not come into work at an entire federal agency, who are going into the Treasury asking for access to a sensitive payment system? How is it a crime to know who those people are?
I don't know if it's a crime or not. I think it's certainly untoward to try to because you're trying to sick an angry mob on people who are showing up to try to
first of all,
act on behalf of the President of the United States.
This is his platform, okay? If his own platform is an angry mob, that's one thing. But he also does this all the time. And these are people who are doing things that affect Americans. They're working in the government.
They're doing things.
I'm sorry. Then I want all the names of people who are working at USAID and every other agency where there's mass corruption and fraud. If there's no problem, like 2 can play that game, Abby. We can really go there. But you know what you're doing and you're playing cute. And saying, well, we need to know what the American tax, they have access. This is mind-blowing. So all of these people that worked at USAID, they're crying they need to be protected in their jobs, and how can you do this? And you could dox them. And we, the people, had no idea who any of these people are. We've never known. We've never known where our money is going. So rather than celebrating that corruption's being exposed, rather than focusing on the substance of what is being found, this is what she chooses to do.
Secret.
They're doing things that affect the bureaucracy, which is why you see all the rage today.
You don't think that this stuff affects Americans, Scott?
I mean, yeah, probably in a positive way. And I'm glad to see Democrats are coming around to the idea that the unelected people who might be involved in the running of our country are important, because you seem to have no interest in that for the last 4 years under the last administration. Here's the bottom line. You know what that means is that you had a president who was not functional, and you know it.
Actually, by that same token, I mean, if you're concerned about the people around Joe Biden running the government, why aren't you concerned about?
Because I don't have any concern that this president is functional. He's a functional president, and Musk is an agent of the president.
Why are you not concerned that Elon Musk is, according to a lot of reports, someone that no one around the president wants to even cross because he's so powerful, and he has leverage over this president because he spent $250 million to get him elected?
Look, the president was elected. He runs the government. Elon Musk is an agent of the executive branch at the direction of the president. And as the president said today, he's not doing anything that he doesn't have permission to do. And I will just remind you all, one of the things he was elected to do is to shake up Washington, stop doing business as usual, and rein in an out-of-control bureaucracy that, as the Congresswoman correctly pointed out, is spending money in ways that was never intended.
So while they're having these irrational, emotional circle jerks about, who are these people, this is what the mainstream media is not talking about. Take a listen to this.
That USAID and a CIA analyst were behind a project that later led to one of Trump's impeachments. Independent journalist Michael Schellenberger joins us to try to convince me that I should believe this. Shelley, always a pleasure. Good to see you, Mike.
Great to see you, Chris.
So, sell me on it. How much do you believe this?
Well, look, here's what we know. We know that USAID effectively created this organization called the Organized Crime and Corruption Research Project, Reporting Project, OCCRP, which nobody's heard of, but it teams up with well-known news media companies around the world. We know that it would not exist had it not rerouted a State Department grant from its narcotics enforcement division through USAID, and that USAID can sign off on all of the senior, has to sign off, has a requirement to sign off on all the senior staff and on the work plan. We also know that it did the foundational research that was essential to bringing the impeachment case against Trump in December of 2019. It was what the CIA whistleblower relied upon in his initial complaint in December of 2019. So those are the facts of it.
Wait, explain that part. Explain that part, Michael. Explain what they funded and how it's connected to what the CIA agent and who that was, what we know, because I thought it was the original guy was the British guy that was hired by the Oppo research place that Clinton had been working with, and he was collecting it from his sources. What are you believing now?
Yeah, I mean, this is the case of you remember, this is where Trump talks about the perfect phone call with Ukrainian President Zelensky.
So this is his second impeachment.
Impeachment, yeah, of 2019. So this is basically a situation where the CIA person in the White House who had been left over by Obama writes a complaint describing alleged violation of the law. This was then picked up and the House impeached Trump. The Senate, of course, declined to hear it. But I think what's so interesting here is that this is an organization that's behind it, that's funded by USAID, that would not exist without USAID, engaging in what I think you have to consider to be domestic politics, which is absolutely forbidden. You have to remember that our intelligence agencies, our foreign policy establishment, of which USAID is a big part, it's not really an economic development agency. I think people misunderstand that part. It's really about soft power. It's about establishing the power of the United States in like an aggressive way, including in regime change. The head of this group, OCCRP, actually brags of helping to change the governments in 4 or 5 different countries, actually brags of the regime change. So this looks like regime change tactics that the CIA and USAID had done abroad being brought back home against Donald Trump.
That's right. We're talking about overthrowing the American government. They're overthrowing the president. I mean, this is treason. This is traitorous behavior that we are seeing coming out of USAID. And we're just, it's not even the tip of the iceberg of what has been uncovered. Now, they're also, raging about the Treasury. I mean, just so pissed off about it. Guys, you have to listen to the head of the Treasury just absolutely demolish this narrative that this reporter is trying to spin. And then again, instead of focusing on what's been uncovered, they're focusing on who has access, as though we've known who's had access all these years. Look at the state that we're in. Look at all the billions, trillions have been given away, laundered, fraud. All of these things have happened. We didn't know anything, nothing about these people. And they did not care. They did not give a damn then. But now that's the focus. Who are these people?
With U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent in Washington. Mr. Secretary, thank you for joining me.
So good to see you.
Mr. Secretary, we are inside the cash room at the Treasury Department. It is almost impossible to overstate how important the work that is done in this building is to the U.S. financial system. Yet right now, there is widespread concern about the DOGE team's access to sensitive payment systems. Are you worried at all that that access and that tinkering of the payment systems could affect the Treasuries market or cause any disruption?
Good. Well, Saleha, thank you for asking me about that, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. First of all, when you say the DOGE team, these are Treasury employees. It is 2 Treasury employees, one of whom I personally interviewed in his final round. There is no tinkering with the system. They are on read-only. They are looking. They can make no changes. It is an operational program to suggest improvement. So we make 1.3 billion payments a year. And this is 2 employees who are working with a group of long-standing employees.
The letter that the Treasury Department sent earlier this week talked about how the team currently does not have access to change the system. Have they at any point this year had the ability to make changes?
Absolutely not. This is no different than you would have at a private company. And by the way, the ability to change the system sits over at the Federal Reserve. So it doesn't even lie in this building. So they could make suggestions on how to change the system, but we don't even run the system.
And if they ask for, if they request the ability to change the system, would you grant that?
No, again, they have no ability to change the system. I have no ability to grant that change. That they can make suggestions, then it would go to the Federal Reserve, and just like any large ERP system, there would be tests, there would be this, there would be that, and then the Fed will determine whether these changes are robust or not.
As the Secretary of Treasury, you also oversee the IRS. Do you know what kind of access the team has to IRS data or individual taxpayer data?
Well, I'm glad you asked that too, because look, the IRS, the privacy issue is one of the biggest issues. And over the past 4 years, we've seen a lot of leaks out of there. The IRS systems are quite poor. When I started in college in 1980, I learned the program in COBOL. I think there are 12 different systems at the IRS that still run on COBOL. But as of now, there is no engagement at the IRS.
And if they request that access, would you sign off on that request?
They haven't, so we'll take that when it comes to it. I think there is a lot to do there, but the president was elected with a big agenda, and to the extent that getting the IRS in better shape is part of that, sure. Because look, with the IRS, what am I concerned about? I am concerned about collections. I'm concerned about privacy. And I'm concerned that the system is robust.
But do you
and customer service.
But do you think that if they ask for access, that is something you would consider signing off on?
There are a lot of things I'd consider, but look, we're in the middle of the tax filing season right now. We even, with the government buyouts that expire at midnight tonight, we have been mandated that the IRS customer-facing employees, that they're not eligible for that until May 15th. So I don't imagine anything's going to go on at the IRS until then or beyond.
She's just focused. She's not even listening to the answers. She didn't care about the answers. Who has access? What are they doing? These two employees. How could they? How could they? Think about it. Look at how bad our government has been run. And then we have brain dead reporters like this who have an agenda, who are asking questions, not listening to the answers, and trying to get to a certain point. They don't care about the corruption. They don't care about anything. They only care about, this is the thing. It was Trump derangement syndrome, but now it's Elon derangement syndrome, DOGE derangement syndrome that we're seeing everywhere. And that is what they're trying to do, to turn some tide, I guess, in their favor, into the Democrats' favor. But what person on earth would be upset at anything that's going on right now? For the first time, we, the people, are able to look beyond the veil and see what has really been happening in this country. Guys, make sure you are following me on X and all my other social media. I have the links right here on the screen, and the links will be below. And if you want to support this channel, I also have my Cash App, but you can also get merch from my store, realmelanieking.com. I have some cute stuff. I'm working on creating a whole little commercial and all that so I can insert it into videos so you guys can see what I have going on there. But until then, I'll see you guys on the next one.